Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So today's look I actually filmed pretty spur of the moment last night after seeing a comment on my last video suggesting that I do a look in contrast to that one. In that video I used lots of bright, happy colours, and here we are. This is the furthest away from a happy, bright look I could imagine, and this is right up my street. If I could get away with walking around covered in blood all the time, I totally would. This is my shit right here. This video is also one of my Halloween videos sponsored by Mehron this year, so there will be a link down below to where you can buy any of their products that I used in this video. So I know I look pretty tired at the moment, but I want my character to look even more tired. I want her to look like she hasn't slept for thousands of years and not just 3 days like me. One of my favourite ways to create tired eyes is with a bruise wheel. The product is designed to look like part of the skin because it's to make bruises, you know, so it's perfect for creating dark circles too. I'm applying the red to begin with, and I'm just blending that in with a concealer brush. It blends easily with your fingers as well. The heat from your fingers actually makes it blend really nicely, so you don't have to make your brushes messy if you don't want to. And I'm using this product to both make her look tired, but also kind of using it like eyeshadow too, so it's not really accurate placement. We're making fashionable eye bags more than realistic ones. I'm going to go in and set that with a deep red shadow, and then I'm going to deepen the inner and the outer corners with the blue from the bruise wheel. I'm just going to go right over the top. This is going to mix really nicely with the red and make a really nice deep purple. Then I'm going to go over that as well. This time I'm going to use a purple shadow to set the purple. So as I was doing this, I noticed that the veins on my eyelids were showing through the product, and I thought it looked really good and I really wanted to include it. So I went ahead and added them in with a little detail brush, and again the same purple from the bruise wheel. I'd recommend using a setting spray or a barrier spray as well, just to avoid those grease paints from moving, because they can get a little bit greasy and move around and crease. Next, I'm lining my eyes with a red liner, which is always one of my favourite things to do. So since I didn't do any eye makeup on the last skull I did, I definitely wanted to include some in this look. So I'm adding some winged liner. I just did a normal thickness for me. This is just how I usually wear my eyeliner. I was tempted to do some really thick CL-like eyeliner, but I didn't want to take away from the veining and the stuff we'd already done on the lid. So I settled for some big lashes instead. I decided to go with only outlining the top half of the skull again and the top row of teeth like I did in my last video. This time you want to add the pointy vampire teeth. I prefer when vampires only have one set of pointies, but I think it works best here if you do two. It just fills up more space. And again, you want to leave a little bit of space below the teeth so that the moisture from your lips doesn't end up pulling off the paint as the time goes by. Next, I'm adding a white cream stick to my face. You can really build this product up, but I didn't want it to be super stark white, so I did leave some hints of skin tone in there. Here I started to add some shading with a grey eyeshadow, but I wasn't too into how it was turning out. I ended up doing it differently later on, but I just wanted to point it out now since it's going to be there in the next clip. Next, I'm outlining everything with a black eyeliner pencil. You could also use a cream product like the cream stick, but in black. Just something that's easy to blend out. This is also why I said the grey eyeshadow from before doesn't really matter, because this is how I decided to do it instead. You want to start to blend out those lines and start adding shape to the teeth. I'm just using a little smudge brush to do this, but those little sponge applicators that come free with palettes sometimes also work really well for this kind of thing. So you want to feather the colour in from the edges towards the middle, but leave the centre clean. And don't do too much from the bottom of the teeth either, or they'll look really rounded. Try to focus mainly on the sides. Then you also want to add some shading above and between the teeth to simulate roots, so it doesn't look like the bottom of the teeth just pop out of nowhere. So I wasn't entirely happy with this double line thing we had going on at the edge here, so I decided to get rid of the outer edge and then bring the design in tighter. It looks a little bit more ornate, and with the grey it kind of reminds me of a creepy statue, like a gargoyle or something in a gothic mansion. I don't know, there's just something about it, so it was definitely a better fit for the vibe I was going for. I'm blending out the edges here too. I didn't round out the back of the cheekbones too much because I wanted to keep that gradient from the white to my skin tone there, but you do want to add just a little bit more than you have on the rest of the outline up there. Now that the shading's done, I'm just going to go back in with that white again and make sure everything's nice and clean. In the last look, I added colour to the bottom lip, so I'm going to do the same here as well. So I took a black lipstick and I filled in my bottom lip and what's left of the top one. Then because that's quite a bit darker than the rest of the black detail I have in the look, I'm going to bump up the contrast between the teeth a bit too. Now for my favourite bit, and if you can even believe it, my first time covering myself in blood like this. So the inspiration here came from True Blood. The amount of times I've seen naked people covered from head to toe in blood in that show is ridiculous. It's almost every episode. And I've always wanted to somehow include that in a look, but there's never really been the right look until now. So I used a red liquid makeup to put down a base of red first, and then I just covered myself in this stage blood. I used the lighter of the two that I have, but there is a darker one as well. I was going to add some darker bits and maybe even some chunky bits with coagulated blood gel, but when I saw how this applied by itself, I was super impressed and I was sold on it, and I didn't want to add more in case it ruined it. This is the first time I've used this blood and I love it. The colour is great and it doesn't do that thing when you apply it and it just separates and looks pink like a lot of fake bloods do. So now I just want to do loads of bloody looks. So look forward to that, I guess. Finally, I added some blood splatters with a blood spray. May I recommend you do this while standing in a shower, because I got this stuff everywhere. But then, I think that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This little character has definitely made her way up to my favourites list. I love her. I just want to keep her. I just want a miniature version of her just on my desk. She's adorable. But yeah, that's everything from me today. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll speak to you very soon.